Hi everyone, welcome to Kelly's Creative Dream Studios, and it is Tag Tuesday. So why am I showing a journal? I'll tell you in just a minute. First off, I want to thank everybody who has joined back into my channel to see what's going on today. And if you're new to my channel, I hope you'll come back because there's always something going on in my channel. I do videos anywhere from 4 to 7 days a week. So there you go. And depending on what's going on, depends on how many days in the week I do that. So I hope you'll come back for that. Now, this is our color challenge for this month. And the reason I'm talking about the color challenge is because all the tags that I make for the month of September are going to go into the September journal. So these are the colors that I'm going to be working with. We're working with orange, brown, green, and white. And remember, we can mix and match the colors as long as we use at least 3 of the 4 colors in our project. So, and it can be a different project, whether you make tags this week and then maybe next week you do a mixed media page. It doesn't matter. You can mix them up as long as each project focuses on at least 3 of the 4 colors, and you can bring in any other colors that you want to use. So the reason I'm talking about the color challenge is I had promised Denise, one of my viewers, that this month I would do the file folder envelope journal for her and show her how I put this together. Now this is one I did for Dear Julie's challenge last year, maybe year before last. It was actually a collaboration between Dear Julie and Cara Brandon Creations with their digitals. And I had a lot of fun with this. The strawberries, lemonades things usually isn't what I go for, but I had a lot of fun with this journal. And I had fabric that went with it. Now this is constructed of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 file folders. Plus, in the back, I had envelopes, and this is where I kept the extra pieces from each week of the challenge. So, and it caught Denise's attention. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate junk mail envelopes into the layout of the pages. And it's going to be a little bit different because this was a standard size 10 by 12 envelope or file folder. I'm going to shrink this down, and it's only going to be about 9 by, I think I figured it was going to be like a 7 by 9. And that's going to include part of the spine. So based on the size that I'm using, and I'm going to write that down so I don't have to measure it yet again, 7 by 9. So based on that, I have to keep the room that I have for pockets in mind, in which case the size of the pockets is going to determine the size of the tags that go in, which brings us to Tag Tuesday. So I think what I want to do first and foremost is make my brain work. Making my brain work. I'm going to take a piece of junk cardstock down here, just something from my scrap. And I'll use one of these browns because then I can incorporate this into the journal. And I'm going to be using a lot of the Recollections cardstocks this time because I want to get them used up and out of my way. So I need this to be 7 by 9, so we're going to take and cut this at 9 by 7. And what this does is it's going to give me a visual of the size of my tags. Okay, I've had it with this Fiskars trimmer. I'm going to have to email Fiskars because if I go from top to bottom with the cutter, it's tearing my paper. But if I go from bottom up, it's working just fine. And it has just started doing that. So I'm going to email Fiskars. They are a really good company about troubleshooting things. So I'm going to have to email them. Okay, so this is going to be the basic size of my page, which means I'm probably not going to want pockets any bigger than about 3.5. Maybe 3.5 by 5. Pocket. 3.5. Now this is just general, so I've got something to work with today that could change. And I'm going to get something over here to write with that doesn't, I can actually read. So if I'm going to do a pocket that's 3.5 by 5, then I'm not going to want to tag any wider than 3 inches by 5.5, probably. 3 by 5.5. And now that half can be taken up by using part of whatever I decide to use for a tab. Now I have this tag, which is 3 by 5.5. So I can work with this manila file folder just fine. The other thing I'm going to be working with is this paper pad from Stampin' Up. It's one of many that I have. And I'm going to see if I can, well, if I raise you up, you're going to miss out on some other stuff. So let's leave you where you're at. This is called Painted Autumn. It was from the holiday catalog in 2017. Of all my 150 paper pads from Stampin' Up, this is one of the few that had at least 3 of the 4 colors in the color challenge. So you can see, I think you can see, just see the, I'm going to turn it this way so you see all the patterns. There we go. And then I have the list down here so I could look, flip through and say, okay, it's got majority of the colors. And this one has Tangerine Tango, it has a lime green, and it has the Early Espresso, and it also has Garden Green. So I've got the greens, the orange, and the browns to work with in this, and white is always an option. So this is the paper pad I'm going to be working with for this journal, which means these are the papers I'll be constructing my tags from. Now I have a collection of scraps here from that envelope that I can work with. Now I like to include 3 things on a tag. I like to include lace. I like to use some type of a tactical element, whether it is a chipboard item or it's metal, and then I include ribbon and wordage. Those are the things I like to include on a tag. So I'm going to start with this one, and I wish I knew where I put my tag pieces. I had cut them off, so I'm going to use one of Tim Holtz's tags here really quick, because I can't find my tag template. I cleaned off over here when I had Dish coming, and I don't know where my templates went. So this is going to be a little off, but we're going to make it work. Of course, my scissors are over on the work table. I spent yesterday and today breaking down paper pumpkin kits because my plan was to use paper pumpkin kits for this journal, and it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. Now that's not exactly how I want that tag, and I'll probably wind up trimming it down at some point, but I want to put that away. So let's start with, let's move our black out of the way here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put, let's go ahead and cover it with this, and I need a bottle of glue. Hold that thought. I can't believe the amount of glue I have gone through in the last week working on projects, so I guess that was a new one. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our tag here, and I'm really not happy with that. I'm really not happy with that, so I'm going to cut that one down. And this is why I use dies for my tags, because I'm horrible at tags. But I'm going to cover this one all in the brown first. Now it doesn't have to be a dark brown. You can use whatever brown you want to use. And I'm going to pick up one of my baby wipes here so I can squish this down and take care of the extra glue. Okay. Now these are my Westcott nonstick scissors, and normally I wouldn't use them just to cut the paper off, but as I said, all my other scissors are over on the other side of the room. Now I am going to leave the manila color on the back, and I think I'm going to try and keep that with all the tags in this journal since it's a manila file folder. And I have plenty of these manila tag bases to use, so I will leave the back as a manila file folder for the journaling. I won't put anything on the back of it. However, that doesn't mean that we won't stamp on the back of it. Okay, and now that I have glue all over my fingers, because, you know, I use glue. Now let's look at, I know that with the vanilla, it's a vanilla color, so this is probably going to be the lace that I use. I also have, I I have this real pretty early espresso ribbon that I can use. And I think I'm just going to get rid of that paper because I'm going to wind up. That's what we're going to play with. We're also going to need, not the gesso, my craft glue. We're going to need that when it comes to putting down lace. And one of my silicone brushes. There we go. That's set to go. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to think about, let's do a garden pattern on here, shall we? Let's do this leafy pattern. And I am going to tear, and I'm going to use this side, not the white side. And stuck to my finger. And I think I want to do that right like that. So let's just figure here, we're going to go up here to this. And I am going to cut that off with the scissors. And then I can come back and dust this top edge just like that. Okay, now I said I like to add and make sure I've got some kind of metal or hardscape. Now, one of the things that we have in here, and I don't have my fussy cut scissors over here with me this time. They are over on the other side of the room. But I like these sunflowers. And I want to be able to bring them up a little bit. And we have done this before where we technically made our own chipboard. So what I'm going to do is I want this one right here. I want this one right here. And I need another piece in here that has, what's on the back of that? So if I see the back side, I want this leaf here. Now, I would normally add a metal here, but we're short on time today because I did more of an intro today. And that leaf is actually too small for that. I think this is the one I want. No, it's too small too. There has to be one of those bigger leaves among my scraps, I would think. I'm pilfering here. This one right here. And I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm going to leave this one the way it is. And I'm going to put on my cheater so I can do this rather quickly. And I'm going to cut this out, but I'm going to take the leaf off. And cutting these sunflowers out is pretty easy. You just cut down one side, come back into the dip, and out they go. So it goes really quick. Not as quick as I would like for this video, but quick enough. Well, our rain pattern has started. I had a big windstorm and rain blow through here earlier this afternoon. I'm recording this on Tuesday or Monday afternoon. Feel sorry for anybody who was camping for the holiday weekend, which is a big thing here in the Ozarks, is camping and floating and tubing and rafting and canoeing. It's a big thing here in this part of the Ozarks. And I'm sure there were plenty that were camping for this holiday weekend. We have more rain blowing in tonight. And Now this leaf, I'm going to cut it off. Okay, I'm going to cut it off. But I'm going to try and leave it as intact as I can, in case I want to use it for something else. And instead of layering this one up and making it a chipboard element, I'm just going to raise it up on top of this one on a dimensional. And I could have had this done already, but what fun would that have been, considering, you know, I'm trying to get this recorded so I can get it moved to the laptop before the rain takes my power back out again. I love my HughesNet. Once I get somebody who actually wants to work with me and listen to me and not give me a sales peel, I do really well with them. Hi, Tabby. My cat's back. They upgraded my internet the other day, and I'm on the list for the Fuse network, which is kind of like their version of broadband, which will make mine even faster. But it still takes a while for my videos to upload. However, aside from that, the dish is very touchy. So when we get rain, I mean, I can get a sprinkle and it'll take out my internet. And then other times, now this one I'm going to leave the leaf intact. This is going to be my bottom piece. Other times, it can downpour and not affect my internet at all. So it's a let's see what it's going to do today kind of thing. So I know when it starts raining, I just plan to not have the internet. And if I do, it's a bonus. It will also take out my dish network. But that's okay, as long as I have stuff on the DVR, I can still go to bed at night and lay there and watch a movie, even if I technically don't have satellite. Okay, we have, whoops, I gotta get these bottom ones out of here. Get these bottom ones out of here. And it's okay if this one is chopped off a little bit, because I took it off the edge of the paper. That's just fine. Okay, now to get these off so I can see what I'm doing. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to dust this one first and give those edges some contour. We're still good. We've got about 5 minutes left. And this will still upload in a 3-hour fashion. And then I'm going to glue this one down the way it is. And I'm going to move this up a bit, and I'm going to stay within the confines of the tag, so that when I put it in the pocket, it doesn't give me problems. Okay, so then I can come back and I can dust these edges, give them a little color. I'm going to try working on several projects at once this month. I realized today that October will be here before I know it, and I have had several pink ribbon journals I've been wanting to do forever, and I have all the components out in the warehouse. I just need to get them put together. So that's going to be on my list for this month, and see if I can't get those done and in the shop by the end of the month. Okay, so I put 3 dimensionals on the back. And I'm going to pop those off just like this. And then I'm going to I'm not going to layer it directly in the same direction as that. I'm going to kitty it around a little bit, and that will add to the dimension. I think I'm going to go this way, so these wider ones will take up space down here. Okay? Now I'm going to come back with my square punch, or my ribbon punch, just like that. Punch that out. And I want to use this ribbon on here. Get my ribbon. Trying to get underneath the plastic of that ribbon and get it out of here. Just like that. Now the one thing I am going to do that I'm not going to be able to show you completely, let's see, I want to do that, is I'm also going to come back in here and I'm going to do this center with stickles, or art glitter glue, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm going to have to let it dry. Now here's what I'm going to do. I have things from over the weekend to show. And so I'm going to be doing a show and tell for my premiere on Friday of things that have completed, things I've had to let dry, that kind of thing. I'm going to pull that really snug. Now, but I'm going to open that back up just a little bit, and I'm going to come back in with this stick and get a little dab of my fabric glue on there and come up underneath there, just like that. And then I can pull that down, and while it's gluing, I'll put one of my silicone clips on there, and that'll take care of that. And then I can come back now, and yeah, I did a little too much on the ribbon, but that's okay. The ribbon can be used for other things later. It's all right. And I raised this up from the bottom a little bit because I wanted to put this on the bottom. And I'm going to cut that off right there. And remember my silicone brush technique where I just take and I dab across the bottom. And this will take care of my, give me a line to put my lace on. Just like that. Okay. And I'm thinking it needs something over here, but I'm not sure what. So I'm going to let this sit and dry over the weekend or over the rest of the week. I'll come back with this one as part of my show and tell on Friday and show you what I've done. Excuse me. Tomorrow I will be back here to cut the part, get the pieces cut for the cover of the journal, and we will draw from our art sticks to see what we are making for Thursday this week. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Remember, if you want to see how this journal comes together, then you need to make sure you're subscribed. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. And keep an eye on the community tab. In the meantime, remember to like, to share, subscribe, and creative blessings.